Hey, this is Andrew, and I'm here to bring you some more Age of Ascension spoilers along with my brother-in-law Mark. Hey, Mark.
Hey Andrew, good to be back.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Um, so this is pretty simple. There's just a few new cards that got announced a little bit ago, and I know you're particularly excited about some of them, but we're just gonna walk through and talk about them. So um, I guess we can just get started. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds like a plan to me.
Okay. So the first one we have here is Yurk, and Mark, why don't you tell me about Yurk?
Yurk. Basically, is 4 power, 0 armor, and it has a play ability. Choose and discard a card from your hand.
Why
Um,
would you want to discard a card from your hand?
so there are advantages and disadvantages of discarding. If you're discarding on someone else's terms, say through a toxin reap, you don't usually want that happen. But sometimes you have a card from an odd house sitting in your hand. You know you won't get to play that card for 2, 3 turns, and being able to just discard it, get rid of it, so you can cycle through your deck faster, can be a huge advantage in moving your deck along.
Yep. Yeah, and there are all sorts of cards. I mean, there's like a few tiers, I guess. There are cards that, if you have them at the wrong time, they're really bad. Bait and Switch is an example. Effervescent Principle,
Hmm.
um, Shatterstorm. These are cards that if they're in your hand and you don't need them right now, you really want to just get them gone, and then you hope to cycle through your deck and draw them later when they might actually help. Um,
Hmm.
and then on top of that, there's a whole category of cards that just like you wouldn't mind dropping. Okay, you have a Murmook in your hand, cool, but if that's the only untamed card in your hand, you might be stoked to see it go.
Right, right, exactly. These creatures are definitely really, really intriguing. I like that they spoiled them because they're a lot of fun to look at. The different interactions that they can potentially have.
Yeah. So, and since you mentioned creatures, I'll jump to the next one, which is the old Yerk. Um, it's a little more crinkly. Has a The sword has clearly been through some stuff. Um, and it's 5 power now instead of 4. And it says choose and discard 2 cards from your hand.
Love it. And you'll
Yeah.
notice that it also increases in the rarity. So it
Uh
goes
huh.
from common for the Yurk, uncommon for the old Yurk.
Yep. Yeah. And then rare for the ancient Yerk.
Yep, yep. And as you can see on the ancient Yurk, that has definitely been around a while, it looks like.
Yep, and it's got more powerful. It's 6 power, and it now has you discard 3 cards from your hand, and that might be pushing the envelope a little bit sometimes, to be honest.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, but still probably better. I feel like it's one of those things where if you are forced to do it, you're probably going to be glad in the end that you did it.
I think so. It's going to be kind of like a Sound the Horns or an Invasion Portal. Sound the Horns, of course, just to remind people, go through your deck until you find a Brobnar creature. Discard your deck until you find a Brobnar creature. And same thing with Mars with Invasion Portal.
Yeah,
Discard cards from your deck until you find a Mars creature. So it's going to be kind of on the advantage, disadvantage scale of that, only you get to choose which cards you're discarding, which to me isn't a bad thing all the time, but um, you know.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Okay. Um, cool. So next up we have Gub. Um, Gub is 1 power, and when Gub is not on a flank, it gets 5 power and taunt.
So this creature, like, man, you want to be able to play him out on a turn where you're playing a couple of creatures out
Hmm.
to get him off that flank as fast as possible. um,
Yep.
to build them up, because +5 power and taunt is awesome. um, yeah, makes him into a big creature, like on par with some Sanctum creatures, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's I think like well he's a common, so that's interesting. Um,
That is interesting.
and there are a number of disc creatures. Um, I don't know exactly how many of them from Call of Archons are carrying over to this set, um, but there's some new ones in Age of Ascension as well, that are tiny but would like to have taunt next to them, So because they have nice effects, so I think this should hopefully pair well with those kind of cards.
Right, right. Yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, being able to protect those little annoying disc creatures can be great. One that comes immediately to mind is the. I think we're actually going to talk about that one later. Yeah, never mind. It's the next one.
Okay. Oh well, let's. Yeah. The next one is Amber Imp, not to be confused with Ember Imp, um, which is
I
a.
saw
Uh
I saw someone joking saying that the next set they're gonna have one spelled AMBER imp to confuse things.
Yep. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So this one's 2 power. It's elusive, and I'm trying to think. There aren't. Oh, there are a few, but there aren't a ton of elusive cards in Dis. Um, and it just says after a creature reaps, stun it. That's bonkers.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy that. Well, first of all, it's crazy that the amount of stun that I'm seeing coming out in this set of cards.
Yep.
There's a lot, like at least in the stuff that they're spoiling. There's like I've said before, stun is my least favorite mechanic in the game, because it's so annoying to be played against to play against.
Uh-huh.
But this card like is crazy because it really makes you guess and weigh whether or not you want to reap,
Yeah.
or whether
Yeah.
you want to fight with your creatures instead. So
Yep.
yeah,
Well, and I think if you have, if you have creatures along with this that have action abilities, that that would be really nice, right? Because then you can maybe do some steal or whatnot,
hmm
without incurring that stun. But yeah,
yeah,
pretty crazy.
yeah, definitely, yeah.
All right. Next up, so this is a fun one, and I just have to say, like, um, there's like a little bit of a theme that I is coming out in Age of Ascension that I enjoy, which is like more of the sort of variations on cards.
hmm
And in Call of
hmm
the Archons, we had, obviously the Four Horsemen go
Right.
together. There's the Niffle stuff goes together, sort of. And then
The
you have
ancient
the
bears with the bear flute.
yeah, and the master of 1, 2, 3.
hmm
Here, there's some. I feel like they're doing more interesting things with that. We saw it with the Yurks. Um, we saw it with the Anpaka twins.
hmm
Um,
hmm Super cool cards.
yeah, and then this one is cool because this one is cross house. And I don't know that necessarily means they're going to be. Uh, I'm sure. Well, I'm guessing. I'm not sure of anything, but I'm guessing they aren't going to be contingent on each other in any way in terms of the algorithm. But it is cool to see. Anyway, yeah. So we have Onyx Knight, which is 4 power. It's a demon knight, and when it's played, it destroys each creature with odd power. And then,
hmm
Mark, do you want to read the next one?
The Opal Knight, 5 power. Play, destroy each creature with even power.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it's so cool. Like, it's one piece of art across the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can put the cards next to each other, and you have a mural. But yeah, I just think that's so cool.
Yeah, so these two cards like together, like say you're playing a deck with the Onyx Knight in, and someone else has the deck with the Opal Knight in it, and it comes down to basically who plays theirs first, to who gets to keep theirs out, and
Right.
the I will not be denied on the Onyx Knight to the I will not yield on the Opal
Yep.
Knight. It's like a unstoppable force meeting an
Yeah.
immovable object type of thing
Yep.
going on. But they're yeah, they're a lot of fun. I like the idea of them.
Yeah.
And a really crazy interaction. I don't know if this will. This is obviously going to be a really rare occurrence, but if Banner of Battle is in the game,
Ooh.
you add Banner of Battle in here, +1 power to all creatures. This
Yeah.
immediately, Onyx Knight immediately becomes a odd powered knight. Opal Knight immediately becomes a even powered knight. So that's obviously going to be a anti-synergistic combo because it will destroy itself the moment it gets played out. But yeah, that'll be interesting if that card is in the game and those get comboed up.
Yeah, super crazy. Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's fun, and I think I don't know, it also plays up the rivalry between Dis and Sanctum, which has already been there in the theme, but fun stuff. I already talked through Grey Rider in my other video, but he's still cool. 2-power human monk with deploy. And on not just fight and reap, but also play, you may ready and fight with a neighboring creature. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, cool little deploy mechanic, like a Sergeant Zakiel, but with the fight and reap ability as opposed to just play. So that's balanced out by the fact that he doesn't have an armor and he's 2-power, but still, like, if he survives out there for a couple of turns, man, you can be in trouble.
Yep, for sure. Cool. Next up, we have in the way I'm walking through it, we have Disambassador, who is 1-power, elusive, and can fight or reap. When he fights or reaps, you may play or use a discard this turn. And then the like super cool thing is there are 6 of these, one for each of the other houses, which seems that's so cool.
I love the fact that I believe they're all special rarity. I don't know which one is the rare or whatever rarity it's supposed to be, but what I believe is that it can only appear in a deck with that house. So Ambassador can only appear in a deck with Dis in it. Logos Ambassador can only appear in a deck with Logos in it. I believe that's how it's supposed to work.
Now there's something important missing from the card, and I didn't notice it until earlier today, and I'm wondering if you've noticed it. It's a word. It's a word that I expected and then realized wasn't there.
I am missing it then.
Friendly.
Huh.
So obviously you can't play a card out of your opponent's hand.
Right.
But if you have this, on your board and they have discards on their side, you could use this to use one of their discards. Which seems super cool. I mean,
that
quite interesting.
Yeah, that is super cool. I actually like that a lot because it isn't a playability. He doesn't have a playability. Yeah. So it's balanced out by the fact that you have a turn to get rid of him if you don't want him to be used against you. So I think that's great, actually. That's a whole new level. Kind of like a nexus for artifacts, but this is for creatures. I like that a lot. If
Yeah.
it turns out to be that way, I hope they don't change it before it comes out.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Um,
I'm guessing that's intentional. It kind of fits with the ambassador theme. Like, hey, I'm getting you to work with me a little bit here.
uh-huh, uh-huh. Now, um, now with that said, I wonder if it will change, like, does that creature now become a friendly creature? Or is it still an enemy creature, and can you make it fight its own side?
Great question.
Like, yeah. I guess it can get really complicated with that interaction,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we'll leave it until it gets explained a little bit better then.
Yep. Yep.
But for now, we'll just love the fact that it doesn't have friendly on there.
Yeah. 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 I hope that was intentional.
Yeah, I hope so too. That's a really cool thing to notice. I love the flavor text on the bottom.
Oh, uh-huh, uh-huh.
Like,
Oh, yes.
Robnar, greetings. I bring rad tidings.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I didn't. Okay, I didn't notice that they had done that differently. I thought maybe they did. Oh, but it rhymes.
So for
Rad,
this,
bad.
it's bad tidings. Logos is glad tidings. I don't know what it would be for the other ones.
I feel like for shadows, sad would make sense.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Huh.
Unless they come up with a different rhyme for the other houses.
For the other three, yeah, and
Yeah,
that's
for
why
the
those
other
are
three.
covered up. Huh. I also noticed, they have their own card numbers, but the lowest one we see is 229 and the highest is 237. So that makes it seem to me like they're not sequential in the numbers. And I mean, unless there's maybe that's not, maybe that number's not accurate, but
Yeah, you're right.
yeah, isn't that
I
weird?
didn't notice the card. I noticed the 229, 230. I didn't connect to the 237. That's interesting.
Yeah. 2 new houses confirmed.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah. Nice.
Cool. So next up is Anahita, the trader. The trader, not traitor. That would be very synced to me.
No.
And she is a 2-power human merchant who can reap to give control of a friendly artifact to your opponent. If you do, they must give you 2 amber. That's interesting.
Yeah. So it's not stealing at all. It's giving. Like, they must give
Right.
you 2 amber.
Right. Oh, yeah,
so-
good point. So that would work around cards like Vault Keeper.
Yeah. 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 So you're basically like controlling the weak-ish to make them give you your amber.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was reading about this card a little bit, and I love the ideas that people come up with, but someone mentioned the idea of comboing this card with Whispering Reliquary
Yeah.
to you give them your artifact, and then you immediately return it to your hand.
Yep.
So it's a ridiculous combo, but and who knows if it can be comboed off, or if that card exists in this next set, but that would be really cool if it did.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know about that, but that would be sweet. What other? I mean, yeah. Obviously, there are other cards. Well, what it mentions cards like Poltergeist that could kill a card too. So, or Tentacus. Plus, there is a whole set of artifacts that they give you an amber when you play them, but they're just constant effects that affect both players, like Speed Sigil or Annihilation Ritual, and those it's like, hey, here, have this on your side of the board. Give me $2.
Right. Right. No, I like the fact that they're giving it. I remember them doing this for Call of the Archons a bit. They give a lot of attention to Sanctum, but I feel like the cards that we're seeing are stronger, at least so far, than the cards we have seen from Call of the Archons. I That's the feeling I'm getting, but I'm not so sure. Like, I don't know. Well,
Yeah,
obviously we'll have to play them to find out for sure. But I like the cards I'm seeing that they're coming out with for Sanctum,
yeah,
which is not popular house to
yeah,
want in your deck.
yeah. I'm hoping we maybe Hallowed Blaster is not going to show up. We'll see.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
cards like that.
yeah. So they mentioned the interactions with Tynnicus and Poltergeist with Anahita, and then they bring up Duma the Martyr, who is from Call of the Archons, but is returning. And by the way, all three of these are confirmed to be returning in Age of Ascension: Tynnicus,
hmm
Poltergeist, and Duma. Um, but Duma is a rare Sanctum human, 3 power, who, when she's destroyed, you fully heal each other friendly creature and draw 2 cards. Um, which is a decent effect, uh, and then this new card, which is a rare, is Martyr's End, which gains you an amber when you play it, and then you destroy any number of friendly creatures, and you gain an amber for each creature destroyed this way. That's pretty interesting.
That is pretty interesting, man. That's kind of like one last job. Only instead of stealing, you gain amber for the
Right,
creatures, and you don't purge them; you
right,
just destroy them. So that's actually pretty good.
yeah,
Yeah, especially if you're able to build up a good sanctum board. You're near the end of the game. You go, okay, I don't want these anymore. Let me.
I'm imagining a turn that involves playing Martyr's End, Glorious Few, Numquid the Fair.
There
I mean,
you
wouldn't
go.
that just be perfect?
That'd be amazing. That would be amazing. Yeah, I'm a fan.
I
One
don't.
thing
Yeah. Uh huh.
on this post that doesn't get any mention in the words of the article, it's just here, is this picture. I don't know if you have it pulled up of this guy with roses falling
Yeah.
behind him,
Yeah.
with having 2 people shake hands.
Yeah.
um, he looks very, very regal,
Yeah.
if that's a word to use. But I'm not sure exactly what this is.
Right. Is this
Have you
a
heard about it at all?
no? No. I know. Is this like a? Is this a truce? Is this a wedding? And is this one of those fish people that you
Right.
are waiting to see?
Right. Totally looks like it, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. The one on the right. Yeah.
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 Oh, the
The
one on
one
the
on the left kind of
yeah.
looks. They both kind of like they would be an Untamed or something like that. I don't know.
Hmm.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, the one on the left for sure. The blue one. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Well.
So
Uh
something cool happened an hour ago.
huh.
Um, I a couple of days ago, I actually made a post about the Yurks on
Yeah.
the Keyforge Facebook group, and I talked about their interaction with the new card Binding Irons, how with this new mechanic that is in the game where you're able to give someone else chains, balancing that out with cards that basically allow you to discard more cards out of your hand
Yeah.
so you can keep your deck moving. The Yurks do just that. I thought it was really awesome.
Uh huh.
Like seeing that correlation between the two of them. And Brad Andres just commented on the post. He said
Oh.
they are so much fun. It was really interesting taking a mechanic that is usually a disadvantage and turning it into something the player would want to do.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Hearing from him on that.
Yeah. No. For sure. And it is such a. I think that mechanic of drawing up to 6 at the end of every turn really does just change how you have to think about this so much compared to other games where I mean, I was definitely never like super good at Magic, but in Magic it was uh, there was this like sequence at the beginning of the game where you have a lot of cards and you can't use them, and then there's kind of a mid game where you're starting to move through them, and then in the late game you have no cards and all this like potential to do stuff with cards, but you don't have cards. And it's like really frustrating. Um, and so I think having the keep drawing in Keyforge just makes it such a more interesting, fast action filled game. Um, yeah, I like it.
Yeah, never being into Magic, I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but that does sound frustrating.
Yeah,
Because of how fun Keyforge is, I can't imagine not moving through your deck the way that you do in Keyforge.
the rule in Magic is literally you draw one card at the start of your turn. That's it. That's the only. They're like occasionally you might have a card that like, oh my gosh, this is like a really good card. You play it and you draw two cards. So exciting.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm guessing people usually want a couple of those in there.
Yeah, it's in some decks, but it's a little more grindy.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Sounds like it.
yeah. Yeah. Not that Keyforge can't be grindy. I lost to someone earlier today online, but played Doorstep to Heaven maybe like 6 times along the way.
Oh my goodness.
And yeah, the game went a little long. It was. I thought about not doing it, but I was like, I'm going to make him work for it.
Man, that's crazy. That's a lot of stalling.
Yes, especially when you know it's over anyway. Anyway, cool. Well, thanks so much for joining me. I'm really excited to get these cards in our hand before too long, hopefully.
Right. Yeah. About a little bit more than a month away, I believe, from what I remember hearing about its approximate release date.
Rumors.
So that's exciting.
Yep. It's all rumors.
Well, they did say on their stream yesterday that's going to be late May.
Oh.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, that's
Yeah.
better than late June.
Yeah. So that is exciting. That is exciting.
Yeah. No,
so we're officially
really
a month away from late May.
Awesome.
Nice.
Cool. Well, thanks, Mark.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yep. See you around.